Jordan Peele's Nope opens not with the vast expanse of the cosmos, but with the claustrophobic terror of a television set gone wrong, prefaced by a biblical promise of humiliation. From the very first frame, the film announces itself as a rebuke to the human addiction to spectacle. It is a massive, towering summer blockbuster that curiously hates the very act of looking. While it wears the skin of a Spielbergian sci-fi adventure, complete with wide-brimmed hats, dusty horizons, and a creature from beyond, its skeleton is built from a much darker, more cynical material. It is a film about the violence of the camera lens and the lethal hubris of believing we can tame the wild simply by watching it. At its center are the Haywood siblings, OJ and Emerald, characters who function as opposite sides of the same cinematic coin. OJ, played with a heavy, mournful silence by Kaluuya, represents the forgotten labor of Hollywood. He is the horse trainer, the man in the background, the one who understands that looking an animal in the eye is a challenge, not a connection. His stillness is his survival mechanism. In stark contrast, Keke Palmer's Emerald is the embodiment of modern media, kinetic, charismatic, and desperate to be seen. She chases the Oprah shot, the impossible image that will grant them fame and fortune. Their dynamic is grounded in a deep, painful history, the legacy of the black jockey in Edward Muybridge's The Horse in Motion, the very first moving picture. Peele brilliantly positions the Haywoods as the descendants of the rider whom history erased, while the horse remained immortal. Nope is their attempt to reclaim the frame, to capture the uncapturable, and to monetize the monster that threatens to erase them. The setting of the Agua Dulce Ranch provides a stark, minimalist canvas for this cosmic horror. The horror here is not initially found in jump scares or gore, but in the uncanny violation of the mundane. A coin falling from the sky like a bullet. A key embedded in the flank of a horse. The sheer wrongness of a cloud that refuses to move. Peele masters the horror of the daylight, stripping away the comfort of shadows. When the threat reveals itself, it is not a ship of nuts and bolts, but a biological entity, an apex predator masquerading as a flying saucer. This subversion is the film's greatest narrative coup. We spend the first half of the film asking, what do they want, assuming an intelligent invasion. But the answer is far more primal. It is simply hungry. Jean Jacket, as the entity is named, is not an ambassador. It is a lion, and the sky is its savanna. This shifts the genre from Close Encounters of the Third Kind to Jaws, turning the sky into an ocean that we are powerless to navigate. Parallel to the Haywood struggle is the haunting subplot of Ricky, Jupe, Park and the sitcom tragedy of Gordy's home. At first glance, the flashback to a chimpanzee rampaging on a 90s television set seems like a tonal detour, a bizarre non sequitur. However, it is the thematic skeleton key that unlocks the entire film. Young Jupe survived the massacre not because he was special, or chosen, or possessor of a unique bond with the animal. He survived because he focused on a shoe that was miraculously standing upright. He survived because he didn't look the predator in the eye. But the adult Jupe misinterprets this trauma as a divine signal that he is destined to tame beasts. He builds a shrine to the tragedy, charging people to view the artifacts of his own trauma, and eventually tries to turn the alien entity into a circus attraction. Jupe represents the fatal error of the entertainment industry, the belief that you can sanitize nature for profit, that you can turn a predator into a plush toy. His demise, and the digestion of the audience he gathered, is one of the most harrowing sequences in modern horror, a literal consumption of the spectators by the spectacle they paid to see. The entity itself, Jean Jacket, is a triumph of design. Initially appearing as the classic flying saucer, a smooth silver disc that slips silently through the clouds, it eventually unfurls into something far more biblical and terrifying. In its final form, it resembles an elaborate, bioluminescent jellyfish or a biblically accurate angel, geometric and ethereal. It is beautiful, and that beauty is the trap. The creature feeds on attention. If you look at it, you engage in a contract of predation. This creates a unique tension for the audience. We are watching a movie where the characters survive by looking down, by looking away. Yet, as the audience, we cannot look away. We are complicit in the bad miracle. We want to see the monster, even though the film screams that the act of seeing is destructive. The climax of the film transforms into a tactical western. It becomes a story of filmmaking itself. OJ, Emerald, the disgruntled tech store employee Angel, and the gravel-voiced cinematographer Antlers Holst team up not to kill the beast, but to film it. This is a profound commentary on the modern age. Proof of existence is more valuable than existence itself. Antlers Holst is a particularly fascinating character in this equation, a man so obsessed with the impossible shot, with the perfect lighting and the perfect composition, that he essentially sacrifices himself to the maw of the beast to capture the majesty of its interior. He represents the artist who is consumed by his art, the documentarian who cannot separate the lens from his own life. The strategy to defeat Jean Jacket relies on low-tech solutions in a high-tech world. Because the entity drains electricity, they must rely on gravity, wind, and hand-cranked cameras. It is a return to the analog roots of cinema. The use of the wacky inflatable tube men, skydancers, as decoys is a stroke of genius, turning the gaudy markers of used car lots into sentinels of death. The final confrontation, with OJ riding his horse through the dust, taunting the alien to draw its focus while Emerald races to capture the image, is pure kinetic cinema. It reclaims the imagery of the Western for the black cowboy, placing OJ squarely in the center of the hero's frame, not as a sidekick, but as the master of the domain. Ultimately, the film concludes with a triumphant, ambiguous image. Emerald uses the winking well, a carnival attraction camera, to capture the final shot of the exploding entity. As the dust settles, she looks out to the ranch gate and sees OJ sitting atop his horse. Is he real? Is he a vision? Or is he, like the great-great-grandfather in the Mooey Bridge clip, finally immortalized in a way that cannot be erased? The film leaves us with the feeling that the image has been captured, but at a great cost. Nope is a dense, layered text that challenges the viewer to question their own role as a consumer of tragedy. It suggests that some things are not meant to be seen, and that in our quest to turn everything into content, from nature to trauma, we risk being devoured by the very things we seek to control. It is a warning labeled as a blockbuster, a film that gazes back at its audience with a cold, unblinking eye.